Hi all, it's lockdown 5.0 and people are on the street protesting today, so it's kind of depressing. Anywho, out of frustration, I'll be teaching you guys how to destroy some cities today in 3ds Max and Tyflow. Just like this video, so you got a bit of a collider object crashing into a bunch of buildings. We'll probably apply a bit of fractured in our demonstration. So let's get into it. So in here I've pre-made some boxes. Then we'll make, I'll move them out of the way. I'll make a plane. Let's say have it 5 by 5 and have it 100 meters by 100. Oh, that's might be slightly too small for these blocks, but we can rescale them in Tyflow anyway, so that's fine. I'll also make a sphere as a colliding object. Let's make it red, just like in the video. A big red giant wrecking ball coming down, smashing the city block. Then I'll be adding a Tyflow, a good old Tyflow. Open editor. I'll go right click on the canvas and go object flow. We don't need the speed thingy. Birth. Go into object properties on the plane, and I check that, and that's Tyflow. I have 36 vertices, so I'll be making 36 vertices, and the position of them, or of all the objects, would be this thing, and I want them to be in vertices in order. That way it spawns right on the vertices of the plane. I'll leave it as box for now instead of referencing them as these buildings, so it's easier to simulate at the time being. Then we'll be adding a physics shape, because we essentially want the ball to like hit these objects and then have some sort of physics colliding effect into it. I'll raise the ball up and create a quick animation for it. So I'll go auto key, move to 10th frame, we'll move this down, move this forward, give it a bit of rotation, say 23, something like that. Move it further down onto the plane, further forward, and give it a bit more rotation, and then I'll make it round at 35, have it slide all the way out of the plane, and an even bit more rotation. So we have something that crashes down, rotate, and boom. I'll probably drag it out more, but that's fine for this demo. Go back into Tyflow. Basically, I would want a surface test, so that when the ball hit, something would happen to this. So if we want to like make a fracture, make the fracture building, unlike these toys building that we showed before, that it just bounces. So for no fracture, I'll put a surface test underneath. also put a physics switch right here and have it as kinematic. So with the Voronoi fracture, I'll be picking drag it under shape so that it fractured at the shape, and once the ball hits the surface on the surface test, I would like to, yeah, that's fine. I'll probably increase the shape so that stays at cube, and probably go to 500. Ooh, that's 250. Maybe 500. 1,000 maybe. So it's kind of simulate the kind of building blocks. With that, I'll also add another physics collision. So basically, it tells, yeah. So it tells that once this ball hit in these objects, they'll change their with that, I'll also need a shape on top of it so that these Voronoi have a physics property with them. So as you can see, once this hit, all these buildings kind of shattered down there. Cool. Now with the shape, go back here, we'll probably have it quite a bit smaller because we're referencing them to these buildings, and with these buildings I'll be adding a Grebel modifier on top of it. Grebel is a plugin. It's a free plugin that people use to make quick city like block. So as you can see, these looks pretty much like high-rises city. I'll drop the frequency down to probably 33%. Oh, it's just 30 for the first one. Reference node. Pick the first box. Yeah, that's pretty big. So I'll be making a scale operator. And probably drop that down to 80%. Probably even smaller, 50. Yeah, so that there's a bit of gap in between there. Let's go back to shape. We want a bit of variation between within this building. So second one, I'll duplicate that and then reference the second box. And duplicate that again. So 30, 30, 60. I'll make this 40%. And I'll be referencing the last big block. You can play around with the seeds to create a bit of variation on your city. So the more of these blocks you make, the more variation of the city you can have. One pretty cool thing that we can do also is, I'll show you in a moment, we just hide these reference boxes for the time being. With the materials, I'll set this to V-Ray, of course. I have a plugin called Material Texture Loader. I'll just quickly make a new toolbar and have this on top. Nope. My own. Yep. Okay, with this material texture loader, I can pretty much load really quick PBR materials, which is really nice. I have here a bunch of building balconies that I stitched together in Photoshop, and then just change the channels of it. So I'll quickly do that and pop that into the scene as an instance. It might take a while to load, but yeah, that's just a bunch of balconies, so that is simulate like buildings in there. And I'll close this. Going back to Tyflow, I would like to export this out as physical 3ds Max meshes. So to do that, I'll do export particles. I'll put that there. I'll change that type to objects, and I'll export. Let me check the frame. Yep. Export particles as object. It's a pretty heavy scene right now, so so if you go there, and I'll also have to pop it for these as well. Yep. Cool. So if you disable everything now, you see I can hide the Tyflow actually. Tyflow. If I hide the Tyflow, essentially what happened is I got all of these in actually being baked into 3ds Max as a bunch of mesh. So as you can see right there, it's pretty heavy. So now I got a whole lot of objects. I'll be applying the same material for it, and for all of them I would need a V-Ray displacement modifier. This is to prevent them from like scattering the PBR, because this only happens in V-Ray because it has a displacement map that works kind of weird. So I'll bump that down to probably 0.2. And yeah, the scene is pretty much it. What you can do is you can just create a standard material, select the plane and assign that. Also create a V-Ray plane. It's an infinite plane, so it goes all the way. I'll also assign the material to that V-Ray plane. Just get a bit of sun action going in. think I've got it the wrong way, but yeah, we can change it. Yes. Towards the back, raise it up. I'll probably drop down the intensity and change the exposure control down to V-Ray exposure control. In the settings, you can play with your settings, whatnot, but for animation wise, you would need, again, you would need to specify your path, and I would suggest you to save it as either a JPEG or a PNG. I'll do it as a PNG for this particular project. Videos, OMG, Apocalypse. I've done like 4 or 5 versions of that, so I'll do 4. RGB 48 bits, that with an alpha channel, so that's the empty space would be transparent. And yeah, there you have it. You can for quick rendering, like testing, I would go have this as irradiance map, change that to super low so that it doesn't need to do too much work. Even bump that subdivision down to 800. I'll do bucket. This is CPU rendering, so yeah, I'll leave it as is, and I'll just do a pretty cool frame down there when it hits the building. Single current frame. And yeah, as you can see, we got a giant ball crashing into the city, causing a bunch of destruction. Looks pretty cool. And that's that for this tutorial. I guess stay home if it's locked down. If it gets this lockdown, these lockdown, less of an occurrence, it would be really great. See you next time. Bye.